Welcome back to the other conflict, this time in Europe, where 7 people have been killed, including 2 children, after Russia launched 2 strikes in Ukraine's central Dnipro region. According to officials, the station is the main city. Dnipro came under attack and several homes were hit. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the attack highlights the need for every city to have adequate air defenses. In a separate strike, Ukraine said it had downed a long-range bomber in Russian territory. Rescue services were continuing to search the rubble and warned that the number of victims would rise. And the European Union High Representative for Foreign Affairs, Josep Borrell, is calling on allies to support Ukraine in its fight against Russian aggression. Mr. Borrell calls for a swift delivery of weapons to the troops in the battlefield, saying Mr. Putin must not win in Ukraine.
So we Europeans in Brussels or in Luxembourg and here, the Western countries, Japan, Canada, US plus Europe, have to take quicker decisions in order to support Ukraine more. Because we cannot afford the Putin's victory in Ukraine. And Ukrainians are fighting, but they need arms. They need arms. I haven't finished. They need arms and we have to provide them much quicker. That's the call I made to the Ministers of Defense. On the following days, concrete decisions has to be taken in order to send to Ukraine more air defense. Otherwise, the electricity system of Ukraine will be destroyed. We cannot only rely on the US. We have to take our responsibility. Stop saying, oh, the US will do. We have to do. We have Patriots. We have anti-missile systems. We have to take them from our barracks where they are, just in case, and to send to Ukraine where the war is raging. And I'm sure we will be doing that, but we have to be done. Nothing will be enough, but everything is needed. So that is better than nothing. And I certainly have to regret that internal politics in the US has been delaying the support to Ukraine. We cannot escalate. We cannot go step by step, answering every time higher to a regional war. I don't want to exaggerate, but we are on the edge of a war, a regional war in the Middle East.
2 spies with German and Russian citizenship have been arrested on allegations of planning to sabotage German military aid for Ukraine. The men were arrested in the southern German state of Bavaria on suspicion of spying for Russia. They're also accused of scouting potential targets, including United States military facilities based in Germany. The men are said to have been working under orders from Russian President Vladimir Putin. Well, Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle and joins us now from Berlin to get more out of this. Lars, great to see you. Who are these men and what do we know about them at this time?
Well, we do know that these 2 men are Russian Germans, so they're carrying both passports. One of them is a 39-year-old, and he was the main target in the authorities' investigation, which has now led to the arrests here. It seems that he had discussed possible plots with a person linked to the Russian Secret Service since October of last year. That is according to prosecutors. He's also accused of working with a terrorist organization. Now, that refers to a time last decade when he was a fighter for Russian-backed forces in eastern Ukraine from 2014 to 2016. He was fighting in the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic. That's a group that was fighting within the eastern Ukrainian region of Donetsk, a part of Ukraine that Russia has repeatedly tried to annex. The second man is a 37-year-old, and he has allegedly been playing a supporting role for just over a month or so, just recently teaming up with the main suspect.
And how exactly were they caught?
Yes, we do have a few details here, and it's interesting the two men were caught and arrested at their homes near Bayreuth. That is a town in the Franconia region of Bavaria. And it makes a lot of sense that they were in Bavaria because that southern German state is home to a whole number of U.S. military bases. According to authorities, the two men had been preparing to carry out bomb attacks and arson attacks on those U.S. military facilities. And for the past few days, apparently, they had been taking photos and videos of military transport and equipment in the area. Now, one site in question here seems to be the U.S. training base in Grafenwöhr, and that is exactly where right now a group of Ukrainian soldiers are being trained to use American Abrams tanks, obviously to be used against Russia in that ongoing war in Ukraine. And that seems to be essentially what's behind this whole story. It's probably less of an espionage case and much more of a sabotage case. Anyway, German authorities are pretty happy that they were able to stop these two men before they were able to act.
And what's going to happen next?
Well, as is usually the case, the first thing that Foreign Secretary Annalena Baerbock has done, she has summoned the Russian ambassador to report to her office. However, there's no details known of that discussion at this point. We did get some statements, however. Chancellor Olaf Scholz says, quote, "We can never accept that such espionage activities take place in Germany." And his Secretary of State also says, "We will not allow Putin to bring his terror to our country." Most importantly, though, Germany will not be intimidated and scared into dropping its support for Ukraine. That would obviously be Russia's main goal, it seems. However, Berlin has just this week issued another urgent appeal for countries to help shore up Ukraine's air defenses and keep supporting the country in its efforts against Russia. So Germany is standing behind Ukraine and will stand behind Ukraine in the future.
Lars, thank you for that update.